Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Listening to Ummah Radio. It's a Thursday evening, Thursday 2nd of February, Thursday 2nd of January, 2014, a brand new year. And we're also broadcasting live across islamradio.com English version and also Islam Radio Urdu. So do check it out at some point at www.islamradio.com. So we're broadcasting actually on 3 different radio stations today. So inshallah, a much bigger audience. And this is the usual Thursday evening question and answer session with our very resident Mufti scholar, or however you want to call him, Abu Musab, all the way from down South Africa. If you want to send us any questions, then you can do so. All you need to do is just drop us a Skype message. Add us on Skype. The address is Ummah Radio. Or alternatively, you can just log on to www.ummah.com/forum and send your questions on the thread, or post your questions on the thread there. So there's a big thread, you can't miss it. Just click on the banner on the top of the link and just post your questions on there, and then inshallah we'll take your questions as much as we can, and I'm sure Brother Musa will do his best to try and answer all the questions. You can also ring in if you want. If you just drop me a message on Skype on Ummah Radio account, okay, just let me know before you ring in. Just don't ring in, because already I'm getting people ringing in. Because what we need to do, obviously, we just need to queue everyone, make sure everyone gets a turn to ring in. So just drop me a message saying you want to ring in with your questions, and then I'll put you on the queue, and then I'll just let you know when it's ready for you to talk. And Abu Musa prefer brothers only, so ideally if only brothers only can ring in, that would be great. Sisters, if you could just send in your questions through Skype or through Ummah Forum. Okay, just to answer your question, Abu Musab, you asked me a question earlier. He goes, I like this version of Nasheed. Who is it by? The Nasheed, which I just played about a few minutes ago. It's by Muhammad al-Muqit. He's from South Africa. Have you heard of him, Abu Musab?
Actually, I have heard of him, but I've never actually listened to any of his Nasheed yet.
Yeah, it's quite good. This one's about, I think this one's called Jundullah. This Nasheed.
I know the old version of just Nasheed.
Yeah.
So this was a new version of it. That's why I was wondering who it's by.
Yeah. I forgot. Abdul Muqit from Saudi Arabia. So yeah, I'll send you a file later on. Something, inshallah. I'm sure that's your type of. Okay, cool. I think what we do just. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm hearing an echo from my side. Is that just me, or is everyone hearing an echo?
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you're fine here. I'm back with you fine here. But yeah, just drop us any feedback on the brothers. You got me on WhatsApp. We've got a little group, and just drop us your feedback there, and also questions. Abu Musab, we've got a lot of listeners. Considering we're broadcasting on 3 radio stations, do you just want to start off with just introducing yourself quickly and just letting everyone know who you are, what you do, and where you're from and what you do, just so just so people know who we're talking to.
It's always one of these difficult thing with the introductions. Anyway, I go on Ummah Forum by the name Abu Musab. Obviously, it's not my real name, and contrary to what many people seem to think, first thing they hear the name Abu Musab, they think I am Abu Musab Wajdi Akari, but that's not the case. My name is actually Ubaidullah Ibrahim, and not Wajdi Akari. So anyway, yes, I am from South Africa, and I studied here and everything. I don't know what else there is to say much about myself.
In terms of your, what mazhab do you follow normally?
Oh, okay. Mazhab is concerned, I follow the Hanafi mazhab. So naturally, all my answers will be based from the Hanafi mazhab, because the only other madhab I studied, but only to a beginner's level, is the Shafi'i madhab. So the only madhab I actually give fatwa on is the Hanafi madhab. So therefore, if someone asks a question and wants to know according to a different madhab, I rather direct them to a Maliki, Shafi'i, or Hanbali alim if they want to know things for that particular madhab. But if it's for the Hanafi madhab, then that's the only madhab I can basically really give a fatwa on.
Sure. Excellent. Okay, no problem. Anyway, without further ado, we've got a couple of unanswered questions from last week. I'm just looking at the thread already, and it seems like we've got quite a few questions lurking. So it looks like it's going to be another busy one. So, right, let's start off with question number 1. This is from last week. Okay, something we face a lot in our times, especially in the West with the teenagers, youth. They go and plan their marriage on their own by speaking to each other, whether online or in colleges, without informing their parents. Obviously, this is not the Islamic way and it's impermissible. We should get our parents involved right from the beginning. Please address this issue and what methods youths can take to get married in a halal way. And also, just to add, maybe this can be addressed as well. People say that the Sahabas might not have gotten permission from their parents before getting married. So how should that play into our time? So nice, juicy question to start off the Q&A.
Okay. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Okay, as the questioner has actually said, he actually answered the question all in himself, by himself when he said that obviously this is not the Islamic way and it's impermissible and we should get our parents involved right from the beginning. And this is the way that the person, marriages have been done in this way for over 1,000 years. So it's nowadays when people go off the track and they go towards the wrong path and they start doing things their own way, as you can say. People now seem to have a negative thing when they think of arranged marriage. So everyone wants what they call a love marriage. Meet a girl or meet a boy, whichever way it is around, and have your chats and things and then fall in love and then you want to get married and all sorts of things like this. And this leads to problem after problem after problem in most cases, and many a times it ends up damaging family, and then that's not to even consider the type of amount of haram and sin that is involved in all of these things. So the only advice or rather the address that I can address the youth with is that get married in a halal way. When you want to get married, not confront, but go to your parents and let them know that you are interested in getting married. And if it so happens, like with many of the people today, they happen to, some have a roving eye, some just happen their gaze to fall upon someone, and then they find themselves wanting to find out more about that person. Then whether you have your mother or your sister or your auntie or somebody or the other, you can have them find out about that girl. And likewise, if it's a girl seeing a boy, whatever the case may be, and then you have your families find out about them, and then you involve the families right from day one. In that way, there will be barakah in the marriage, and it will be void of any haram and sin and things that happens in this normal planning of marriages between, as you can say, the youth, where they just hiding around corners, behind the backs of their parents and things. And then, like, for instance, when it's a girl and she's doing this behind her parents' back, and then when the parents find out and they say, no, you can't get married, then it's like depressing, and some people go and want to commit suicide and all sorts of haram like this. So to avoid all these type of things, start your marriage off from the beginning in a halal manner, and then you will have a halal marriage and a halal life, and inshallah Allah will put barakah in your marriage for you, and you won't find any need to look anywhere else for, as you can say, satisfaction outside of your marriage. Wallahu a'lam. Another point where you said that some people say the Sahaba radiallahu anhu may not have gotten permission from their parents before getting married. This, firstly, if a person makes a statement, then as the hadith it says, al-bayyinatu ala al-mudda'i wal-yaminu ala man ankar, that the onus of proof is upon the claimant. So if a person claims that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum just did their own things all willy-nilly, then it is upon them to provide the proof that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum just ran out and did things. We know from the hadith where Hazrat Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, where he married a girl and he didn't want to, and he liked this girl, and his father Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu told him to divorce her, and he said he didn't want to because he loved this woman a lot. The case was taken to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told him to obey his father and divorce the woman. So we know that, why is still going to get married here? You are already married and your father tells you divorce her, and then for whatever reason it may have been, and then he just divorces his wife like that because this was the command of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do it in this manner. So for a person to come and say that the Sahaba radiallahu anhu would just have gone around doing things willy-nilly, not consulting anyone, not having the walis present or anything of the sort, this is a unfounded claim that the person would provide proof for before there is anything actually to address on that matter. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Jazakallah for that, for answering that question. Okay, next question that's come through the forum. Goes, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What color will Hur al-Ain be? It is mentioned in the Quran they will be fair. Does this mean they will be white? The reason being, some interpret it as being light-skinned. And Jazakallah, that's from a member from the forum.
Okay. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The problem, which is, as you can say, it's glaring, but I suppose it's to be expected when you are reading an English translation. Although the problem lies not exactly with the English translation, but rather the way people understand the English language. Firstly, the ayah in question, which people refer to normally as the Hur al-Ain being fair, is كَذَلِكَ وَزَوَّجْنَاهُمْ بِحُورٍ عِينٍ. Literal translation, and in this manner, we will marry them to the Hur al-Ain. Now, as you can see, there is no way whatsoever in this ayah where it says fair women or white-skinned women or white women or anything of the sort. No color is mentioned anywhere. Now, the translation, if you notice, many of the English translations, Yusuf Ali and others, they use Old English. Now, the word they use when they translate it, and they say that we will marry them to fair women, then this is the English word fair has many meanings, and one of the meanings of fair is beautiful. So when they translate it as this, and we will marry them to fair women, then they mean, and we will marry them to women who are beautiful with large eyes. So it's not to do with color, as many people misunderstand the thing. The Quran and the Hadith don't give the Hur al-Ain and say they are blonde with blue hair, blue eyes and blonde hair. The Hadith and the Quran never mentions things like this. As we know that the Hur al-Ain, there will be many different types, and obviously looking different all. And like I mentioned, the Quran does not say they are either white or black or yellow or pink or any other color for that matter. So there is nothing to prevent there being white Hur al-Ain and brown skinned and yellow skinned and black skinned and whatever else. However, as you can say, whatever is attractive to the individual, there is nothing that prevents it in the Sharia for the Hur al-Ain to be of that colors. So no, the Quran does not give any color, skin color for the Hur al-Ain. So hopefully that answers the question.
Okay. Anyway, listen to my radio. If you've got any questions, you can ask us through live on Skype. Add us on Skype. The address is Ummah Radio, and we're also broadcasting on islamradio.com English and Urdu version. Just good feedback here. Assalamu alaikum. The program started already. I found this by chance and do not know really how it works. I might have no questions at the moment, but I definitely profit, inshallah, listening to the Shaykh. So that's just some feedback from a sister who's listening from wherever. Okay, so yeah, like I said, the way it works is ask your questions on Skype, and then inshallah we'll put forward to Abu Musab, and then he'll try his best to respond to you, inshallah. Okay, let's move on then. Questions are coming through quite thick and fast. Next question is, let's have a look. Got quite a few questions here. This one is from a user from the forum. He goes, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, akhi. My question is, I go to a Deobandi masjid and notice that some people enter the mosque while the Jamaat has already started, Fajr, Faraz, Salah, and instead of joining the Jamaat and praying Faraz, the person instead offers his 2 rakat Sunnah, which is to be prayed before the Faraz Salah. Is it permissible to pray Sunnah while the congregation is praying Faraz Salah, or should the individual join the Jamaat and pray the Sunnah after Faraz? This thing is actually quite common as well, because I noticed that quite a bit, especially for Fajr Salah. You know, you got the Faraz Salah starting already, but then as soon as you walk into a masjid, you see people performing the 2 Sunnahs. Is that permissible? I mean,
yes. Okay, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, it is definitely permissible to perform the Sunnah while the Jama'ah Salah is taking place, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke very highly and placed much emphasis on the 2 Sunnah of Fajr, and said that you should not leave it even if you are trampled by horses. Just as you can say, emphasis on how important this 2 rak'at or Sunnah of Fajr really is. So the ulama, they explain that if you enter the masjid and the Fard has just started, So, and there is enough sufficient time for you to perform your sunnah salah, then you should perform your sunnah before joining the farad. But if it's such that you will not be able to perform your sunnah and catch the farad, then in that case you must leave the sunnah and you join the jama'ah and you perform the farad salah. The thing is, after you perform the farad salah, it is not permissible to perform salah thereafter. This was something which came up in a question in one of the previous sessions. After Fajr, the farad, a person performs the farad of Fajr and the farad of Asr, a person may not perform any salah thereafter, sunnah and nafil and so on. The only salah which is still valid to perform at that time is qada salah. So for instance, you are performing Fajr now and then you remember that, okay, I forgot to, it totally slipped your mind that you missed the Isha of the night before. Then in that case, after you perform the farad of Fajr, you will still be able to perform that qada of Isha of the night before. But it will not be permissible for you to now make a sunnah after the farad salah. So that is the reason why the ulama explained that when it's enough time, then first start with the sunnah and then move on and join the jama'ah and continue the farad salah. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair for that. Next question from Yasser from my forum. Other day in masjid, an uncle right next to me phone rang during prayer and it was a music tone. So he takes it out, looks at it and shuts it off. What is the correct way in handling that situation for that person?
Okay, when it comes, firstly, that a person should not have musical ringtones in the first place. It's an even bigger crime when it's a musical ringtone in the masjid. And extra crime is disturbance of the musallis by not putting your phone off or putting it on silent. Many of the masajid all have signs up saying switch off cell phones or turn your cell phone silent, yet people they just blatantly ignore these signs and go with their cell phones on loud and everything just like that into the masjid. And then it's not a rare occurrence. Many people have got strange sounding ringtones, laughing and babies crying, and some people got adhan and Quran, and many people have music like this and anashid and everything of the sort. Now here, salah is, person is performing salah and you disrupt the entire salah with your ringtone. Sometimes people have, like you can say, jokey ringtones. Now a man laughs in salah and he breaks his salah because you have your ringtone playing on here because in the first place you didn't switch your cell phone off or make it silent before you entered the masjid. So that a person, whoever enters the masjid for salah, you should either switch off your phone or put it on silent so that it cannot disturb any of the musallis. Okay, but coming to the question, the case in question, if a person's, for whatever reason, maybe you came late for salah and so you rushed in and you forgot totally about your cell phone and now it rings in salah, then it's not as the question here was, the man takes out the cell phone and looks at it and then switch it off, and I think that is also incorrect. If your cell phone rings, like I say now, you forgot about making it silent or switching it off, then what you are to do, like give it in your side pocket or whatever the case may be, with minimal movement, as little movement as possible, just press the, like you say, the off button, and that's it. Not take it out and look at it or turn the phone around first to see, okay, who's calling me now, and then turn it off. No, you just straight one time you cancel the call just to end the call, and you continue on your salah in that manner. And obviously using one hand, not taking both your hands and flipping open a phone and all that sort of things, because as we were mentioning in one of the previous sessions about excessive movement in salah and how excessive movement in salah breaks your salah. The example the ulama give is that if an onlooker looks at you and he does not think that you are performing salah, because if you're standing here in salah with a tablet, tapping on the screen, an onlooker is going to think you playing with the tablet. They're not going to think in the mind that you are performing salah. So this would be considered as an amali kasir, an excessive action which would invalidate your salah. So it should be done with absolute minimal movement to just simply switch the cell phone off. Whether you switch the cell phone off or you just cancel the call, whatever the case may be, but it should be done with minimal effort. Minimal movement. Wallahu a'lam.
And not picking up the phone even mid-salat saying, I'm praying salat, put the phone back down again.
if a person does that, then his salah is broken immediately and he has to then make qada of the salah.
Yeah. I'm sure I've seen cases like this when I was in Mecca, actually. It's like, all sorts of names. But anyway, jazakallah for that. Another question. I've got an iPhone app and I've downloaded a Quran app, am I allowed to take this into places like toilets, etc.?
Okay. I actually answered this question.
I think you did, isn't it?
Last week. But anyway, I'll just repeat it again. When it comes to having the Quran on a phone, then it is permissible to take the phone into the bathroom when the Quran app is closed. Obviously, on your home screen and things like that, and there's no ayat of the Quran or anything on the screen. In that case, you can take it into the toilet. But if the Quran app is open, then you may not take it into the toilet. So,
Okay.
I think somebody asked the last time whether it's permissible to have such an app. So yes, it is permissible to have such apps, but just like it is with anything having a ring and what the name of Allah and so on, all on it, you just have to take it off when you go into the toilet. So same with the phone, you just switch it off and then you are allowed to take it into the toilet. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, bit of a silly, kind of a weird follow-up. Coming from a technical background, how do you define the app as being open? As in visible on the screen? Or just open in the background? Or open, but with the brightness low down? If you get it.
The open would be considered simply with the app being open, displayed on the screen. Whether the screen is dimmed or whether the screen is shining bright, for both cases it would be impermissible. But
Okay.
when the app is closed or in the background you have a different app open, then in that case it's considered as though the Quran is closed because it's not showing. So that is how it will be considered.
Can you apply the same logic? Just say, for example, you just go into the airport, for example, and you got Quran in your hand luggage. Okay, you need to go to the toilet. And you take your hand luggage you take the hand luggage into the toilet cubicle, for example, and you got the Quran in your hand luggage. Is that okay as well? Is the same logic applied to that? Is it or?
No, you see, the thing is, one thing is the Musab, the book of the Quran itself. It has all different laws to it, because you see, when you have one alim who was explaining something totally different, but what he mentioned is that when you have a Quran in book form and you have a normal, as you can say, a cover of a Quran laying one side, that cover you can use it even in the toilet also as a rag, because it's just a piece of cloth as it stands there. But the minute you take that cloth and you put it onto the Quran, then it becomes impermissible for you to touch that cloth even without wudu, because now the ruling of the Mus'haf affects the cover as well. So likewise, but this is not the case with the phone, because it's not a Mus'haf, it's not the hard copy of the Quran itself. So therefore, when it comes to a phone, you can just simply close the app and then the phone is able to be used as something else. But the Quran is the Quran and you can't use it for any other purpose. So if the Quran is in your bag or in your pocket or something, you would have to take it out before you go into the toilet. Allahu a'lam.
Okay, cool. Jazakallah khair for that. Okay, I've got another question here. It's a bit of a kind of touchy question. I did mention that to you earlier, actually. It's more of like advice question rather than it just wants advice from Islamic perspective. You just said that it's a guy sent a message through. Goes to me, had a relationship with his auntie and got his auntie pregnant. What should he do Islamically? Or how can you advise him Islamically going forward?
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The incest, as you term it, is an extremely major, apart from zina normally just being a major sin, incest is an even greater sin than that. But when it, obviously now, when it's talking about in an Islamic country, then the had, the Islamic punishment to be carried out on such a person. But seeing as there is no Islamic countries available currently at hand, so to say, where the Khalifa and the Sharia is being carried out, so it becomes a bit difficult from that perspective. So in cases like this, the only way to move forward is to make excessive tawbah, repentance for everything. As we know, the case of that woman who committed zina during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and obviously the woman and the man as well, and they came and they told Rasulullah, they confessed the sin to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told her she must wait until the child is born, and then she came back when the child was born, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent her back again and said, wean the child, come back when the child is finished weaned, and in this manner she was sent up and down until finally the child was able to eat solid foods, and then only at that time Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had the had carried out on her. And then one of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu, while stoning her, he passed a comment, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the repentance, the tawbah of this person was such that reprimanded the Sahabi for the statement and said that the repentance of this person was such that if it was distributed amongst all the people of Medina, it would have sufficed for all of them. Such was the sincerity of the repentance of this person. So regardless of how major sin a person commits, if you have the sincere tawbah, then there is always a way out for you. Allah forgives all sins. So when it comes to moving forward, like I say, the only thing that can advise you is the excessive repentance, and obviously all connection between you and that auntie, it should be severed so that you don't fall into the same crime for a second time. And if the person is married, obviously then he needs to sort out himself with his wife, or marry a second wife, whatever the case may be, to prevent him from straying in and committing zina. And if he's unmarried, then he should get out as soon as possible and get married, so that he have a halal means of, let's say, doing all this stuff over there. So, unfortunately, it's a very sad case, but there is not the only thing that the person can do is to repent for it and ask Allah to forgive them for the crime that they have committed and to guide them on the straight path. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah. Jazakallah for the person who actually sent me this question. I know it's a bit touchy, but I guess issues like this are quite common, especially with Muslims. So we need to address it at one point or another, and there's no point in kind of like shying away from
point in
such issues, isn't it?
intention. It's important that's why we say normally you hear the statement that there's no shyness in asking questions. Obviously, you must be modest while asking a question. You don't come blow out explicit details of how you do things. Some people must understand that statement and think, okay, there's no shyness in asking questions, so they just put things any old how. But that's a misunderstanding. But I remember still one of my teachers, he said there are two types of people who can't learn the deen. One is an arrogant person, because the reason for that is because he thinks already that he knows, so he is unable to learn anything. Nothing will sink into his head. And the second type of person who cannot learn anything is a shy person. Shyness is definitely a good quality in the Sharia, but when this shyness prevents you from your Islamic duties, then this shyness is actually from shaitan and it's not part of the deen. So a person said, one man said, he's shy to go to the masjid because having to interact with a lot of men. So now this man don't go to the masjid before, and he blames it on shyness. So this is blameworthy shyness. The shyness that Islam asks is not this type. So he said the reason why a shy person can't learn the deen is because, as you know, he don't want to ask the question, so he'll never learn either. So definitely, if a person has any questions, if it's of or whatever nature the question is, ask the question, and inshallah you will learn in that manner. As Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that in the case of the hadith in Abu Dawud, Sunan Abu Dawud, where that one person had a head injury and they were out, and he fell into a state of janaba, meaning ritual impurity, and he needed ghusl. So he consulted some people over there, and they told him, no, there's nothing you can do. You will have to perform. You will have to take a ghusl. So he went and he made the ghusl, and then obviously with his head injury, he got sick and he died. And then the news of this was relayed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they have killed him. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made, as you can say, a bad dua, a very reprimanding statement against these people, and said, why did they not ask if they did not know? Because the cure of ignorance is asking. So whenever you have something that you don't know about, whatever the case may be, then ask the question, and inshallah, in that manner, you will be able to learn something more.
Sure. Jazakallah for that. Next question. Someone by the name of Igloo, nice name by the way, Glue Igloo, asked a question. Assalamu alaikum. Can you ask Abu Musab whether a woman can read the Quran on the phone while she's menstruating?
When it comes to a woman reciting the Quran in menstruation, then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا يقرأ الحائض ولا الجنوب شيئا من القرآن, that a haid, a woman in menstruation, and a junub, a person who's in ritual impurity, they cannot recite anything of the Quran. So whether it's from the phone, whether it's from memory, whether it's from the Quran itself, you cannot touch the Quran, nor can you recite the Quran when you are in a state of menstruation. Hadrat Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhu, if I'm not mistaken, he said that one way around this, for like when you have women who are teachers who teach the Quran to other women, then they can read, like for instance, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, breaking the ayah up like this into portions. Then in that case, it's not considered, when you say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, you have recited an ayah. If you say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, then it's broken into three parts, so it's now like three different statements, and it's no longer a complete ayah. So he said, in this manner, a woman who is menstruating, who is a teacher of the Quran, in this manner she can teach other women, despite her being in menstruation. So, but generally, just reading the Quran, that will not be permissible while in a state of menstruation. Now, just one quick point, comment on this point here, is that the user from the forum, Medievalist, he related this advice that his teacher had told him, which when it was a very good advice. Obviously, the entire text of what his teacher said eludes me at the moment, but basically, what his teacher mentioned was that it is Allah who has given women the state of menstruation, and Allah has commanded them, like this through Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not to recite the Quran in the state. So they should see it as being, as some people, women say their iman becomes weaker if they don't read the Quran while they're in the state of menstruation. But this alim, he explained, and he said, no, but the way you should look upon it is that you are now fulfilling the command of Allah by not reciting the Quran. So you shouldn't look at it as though it's some difficulty upon you, but rather you should look at it the other way, that you are fulfilling the order of Allah. So you get reward even in this manner by doing that which you have been commanded to do by the Sharia. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah. Hope that answered your question. If you've got any questions, you can send them through to Skype. The address is Ummah Radio. Add us on Skype if you haven't already got us as a contact, and just feed your questions through. You can either text in, as in type textual message, or if you want to ring in as well, brothers only. Please, you can ring in. Just give us a heads up before ring in, and then we could take live questions on air. Alternatively, ummah.com/forum is a place to answer your questions anonymously or as yourself. Just log onto the forum, sign up there if you haven't already registered. Then there's a thread there, which is advertised on top of the forum as a banner. Just click on it. It's called Live Q&A with Musab. Post your questions there, and then we'll read them out, inshallah. We're broadcasting live on Ummah Radio, as well as joined live on islamradio.com English and Islam Radio Urdu. So inshallah, got quite a big audience today. So feel free to post your questions through, and then I'm sure Abu Musab's doing a great job answering all your questions. Okay, question number 6, I think. A sister messaged me just now and said, what's the ruling on someone going for jihad without the permission of their parents, and what would happen to them if their parents are unhappy because of this?
Okay, I explained this in, I think it was last week, that jihad is of two types. You have when jihad is fard ayn, meaning an individual obligation, and you have jihad which is fard kifaya, meaning a communal obligation. When jihad is fard ayn, an individual obligation, then in that case, no permission from parents is needed. A woman goes without the permission of her husband, the debtor without the permission of the creditor, the child without the permission of the parents, and the slave without the permission of the master, and so on and so forth. And obviously, in this case, there is no question about it. It's totally permissible for them to go. But when a jihad is fard kifaya, meaning a communal obligation, then in this case, a person should not go without the permission of his parents. This is what comes in the hadith where a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said that he wants to go for jihad. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, is your mother alive? Or in another narration, are your parents alive? Then the man said yes. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, فَفِيهِمَا فَجَاهِدْ. Then your jihad is to then, like basically as you can say, strive to serve them. So in this case, it was just, as you can say, an expedition going out. If the jihad was fard kifaya, that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself was staying behind. So when it was this, in cases of fard kifaya, you have to, a woman cannot live without the permission of her husband, nor a slave without the permission of his master, nor a child without the permission of his parents, and so on and so forth. But so obviously, if you do it in this manner, then you will be doing something wrong. Obviously, a woman living without telling or asking her husband, and the child also, there will be the wrong for each one of these type of people to do it in a case when jihad is fard kifaya. Like I say, when jihad is fard ayn, an individual obligation, then all these rules fall away, and it's the duty of each and every single person to go out for jihad. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah for that. Hopefully that answered your question. The sister sent it to me. Okay, next question. This one's picked up from the forum. It's quite an interesting one, actually, because especially for those who frequent Ummah forum a bit, the issue of takfir kind of, comes up every now and again, and there's always disagreements, etc., etc. So, brother asks, there's a lot of confusion regarding takfir, what it means, the application, etc. We find some are very quick to pronounce ridda on a Muslim. On the other hand, we have those that make statements such as, you don't know what's in their heart, brother, etc. So my question is, firstly, what is takfir? And is it the duty on a layman to make takfir? And what are the steps taken before someone is declared to be a kafir or apostate? Can you please clarify for this, as this has been the source of many discussions and disagreements here. May Allah preserve you and increase you. Ameen. Yarhamukallah. That's from Brother Jibreel from Ummah Forum.
Okay. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This was actually something I was planning on doing a separate class for, actually, because it is definitely a hot topic on Ummah Forum, the issue of takfir. But to go quickly over the issue of takfir, obviously this view that say you don't know what's in their hearts, this is something which is very foreign to Islam. Takfir is an integral part of Islam. So the question is, number one, that what is takfir? Takfir is to declare those a kafir as a kafir. Therefore, the ulama have stated that a person who declares a kafir as a Muslim, he himself becomes a kafir. So, for instance, you have the Qadianis, for example. Anybody who believes that Qadiani is a Muslim, he himself becomes a kafir. And this is something that all the ulama are unanimous upon. In the ayah of where Allah says, لقد كان لكم أسوة حسنة في إبراهيم والذين معه إذ قالوا لقومهم إنا براء منكم ومما تعبدون من دون الله. That you have a good example in that of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam and those who were with him. إذ قالوا لقومهم إنا براء منكم ومما تعبدون من دون الله. When they told their people that we are free from you and that which you worship besides Allah. Then they said, كفرنا بكم. Kafarna is from the same word of kufr. They made takfir on these people were all kafir. They were idol worshippers. They were mushrikeen. So they make it, as you can say, they make it clear in this statement of theirs that we declare you to be kafir. We reject you as kuffar. وَبَدَا بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةِ until the end of the ayah, meaning and enmity and hatred has emerged between us and you until you believe in Allah alone without any partners. But the point I'm making here is that kafarna bikum, that they declared the kafirs as being kafirs. So takfir is definitely an integral part of a Muslim. So leading on to the second question, is it the duty of a layman to make takfir? There's two things to say here. One, when it comes to declaring someone in particular a kafir, then this is not the duty of a layman. But when the ulama have declared so and so to be a kafir, then it's the duty of the layman to also declare such a person a kafir. So the layman is simply relating the ruling laid down by ulama, but it's not for him to make the ruling all by himself. So, like in the case, you have these various people, like I mentioned, for instance, the Qadianis. All the ulama are unanimous that they are kafir. So it's the duty of every single layman that he declares the Qadianis to be kafir. Likewise, the hadith rejectors, those people who reject all the ahadith, all the ulama are unanimous that such people are kafir, fi nari jahannam khalidina fiha abada. They will go to if they die on that belief, they will go to Jahannam for all eternity. So it's the duty of every layman also to make takfir of such people, to explain to them that they are kafir and they have no share in Islam, despite what they may claim. So the duty of the layman is not to, out of his own, start declaring people, you Fulan ibn Fulan, and you so and so, I declare you a kafir, you are a kafir, you are a kafir. No, that's not his duty. But when the ulama have stated that so and so is a kafir, then yes, then it becomes the duty of everybody to declare such a person as a kafir. Okay, then the next thing, what are the steps taken before someone is declared to be a kafir? This is another point. There are some things which is termed in, which the ulama say, مَا عُلِمَ مِنَ الدِّينِ بِالضَّرُورَةِ. Those things which are known by necessity of the religion. Meaning that, for instance, if a person comes, as you can say, whether it's out of ignorance or whatever, and he say that Allah has a son, then such a person becomes a kafir regardless of whether he is ignorant, whatever the case may be. His ignorance won't be an excuse for him in cases like this, because this is things which are known by necessity, that Allah is free of all partners. So then there are some things where knowledge is required, and there obviously that the person has to be informed. Many a times, and I find this on Ummah forum time and again, where people make statements that are kufr out of pure ignorance. Naturally, they're not intending it, but they make still statements which are kufr. So upon such people, they have to first be told that this is wrong for this reason. Yes, behind it that Allah has prohibited it or has said this and this and this, whatever the case may be. And if then this person rejects now the ayah or whatever the case may be, then it's a different story. Then this person becomes a kafir on the basis of rejecting the ayah of the Quran. So there are steps, that are the steps, this knowledge, when it is a necessity for things which are not known by necessity of the deen. But those things which are known by necessity, and as you can say, it's well known amongst the Muslims, and a person comes by and he makes such a statement, or a person insults Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or let's say you have a Muslim and he draws also one of these cartoons like the Kuffar draw of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and a Muslim comes along and he draws a cartoon like this, he becomes a kafir instantly, regardless of him claiming ignorance or not. It won't help him in the least, he will be a kafir. So, as you get, I hope that answers the question from that perspective, that when it comes to those things which are known by necessity, then as you can, there are no steps. This person is just straight outright a kafir. But in cases where knowledge is required, then yeah, there are steps that the person has to be addressed and explained and so on. And only thereafter, if they continue and they reject now the ruling of the Quran, then it will be a different story, and they would then be declared a kafir. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay. Jazakallah for that. Hope that clears it up for question earlier. Okay. Questions are coming through thick and fast. So we've got quite a few questions lined up for you. Don't forget, you can still ask the questions. All you need to do is add us on Skype. Address is Ummah Radio, or you can just post on a forum your questions on the live Q&A thread, Thursday, 2nd January 2014. Post your questions on there. We're just monitoring Skype and the forum at the same time. Okay. Next question. This one's from a sister on Ummah forum. If our parents are doing something wrong Islamically, be it ibadah or what we believe in, etc., etc., can we advise them, or is it none of our business as they are our parents?
Okay, when it comes to a person's parents or anyone for that matter who is doing something wrong, then it is our duty actually to advise them of that which is wrong. That's why Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. O you who have believed, save yourselves and your families from the fire. It refers to your entire family. You can't say, okay, no, my father is believing in an idol, so, it's none of my business. Let him believe in the stone and let it just go by. No, you see with the Sahaba radiallahu anhu, how they struggle, how they, like for instance, Hazrat Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu and his mother who didn't want to accept Islam, and how he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam made dua, and then he found that his mother's heart had changed and she accepted Islam. So, and other Sahaba who continuously urged their parents towards Islam when the children had accepted Islam before them and they were still mushrikeen. So definitely, if your parents are doing something wrong, they are holding a belief which is kufr, which is outside the belief of Islam, or they are not, as you can say, they are doing something incorrect in ibadah, then yes, definitely advise them, but advise them with the respect that they are to be accorded as parents, and not as many people nowadays amongst the youth, where they get this habits of the kuffar, where they are blatantly rude and disrespectful to their parents, like, I know more than you, who are you, and all that sort of thing. You are a jahil, listen to me, and stuff of that sort. Although they may not say it in those words, but that's the attitude that they give off. So a person should not do it in that manner. Obviously, advise them, but kindly and in a proper manner, and not confrontational manner. You find that with certain people, certain methods work. So you should explain things in a proper manner, so that, as you can say, your parent won't take it as an attack or something of rudeness from you, because that's why a person is told that when you are doing da'wah and things, you do it with wisdom and in a good manner. That's why Allah mentions to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ, that if you were harsh and hard-hearted, then the people would run away from you. So you have to be kind, and then people will listen. But if you're going to be mean, we can see it ourselves. You look on the forums, you look in real life, the lecturers and things, those people, speakers who are rude and who attack and swear and curse everyone, everybody's off the manhaj, or everyone's in Jahannam and things like this. Nobody really wants to listen to such people. So despite what knowledge and everything they may have, it's all wasted because nobody wants to listen to them. So you should do things with respect and and in a proper manner. Then people will, inshallah, their hearts will be open to accept your advice. Wallahu a'lam.
Cool, jazakallah for that. Next question come through on Skype it's just basically a follow-up question about what we mentioned earlier about not permissible to recite Quran during menstruation. But the sister asks, I heard that you said it's not permissible to recite Quran during menstruation. However, I often have nightmares and I recite Quran every night before I go to sleep to avoid that. What can I do if the recitation of the Quran is not permissible?
What exactly is the question?
Sorry, so let me repeat it again. Basically, a question you answered earlier about what's a woman's recitation. She's not allowed to read the Quran. But the sister's saying is she often have nightmares, and as a habit, she recites the Quran every night before she goes to sleep. So she goes, what can I do if the recitation of the Quran is not permissible? I think what she's basically saying, like, she seems to be having nightmares every so often, and in order to avoid getting nightmares, she recites Quran every night as an act of protection or measure. But while she's on her menstruation, if you're saying she cannot recite the Quran, what else can she do?
Okay. So basically she reads the Quran in order to prevent the nightmares. Okay, now I understand the question. Okay, so in this case, still, the woman will not be permitted to recite the Quran, but that is why we look at the Sunnah, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us various remedies directly from the Ahadith, especially to do with things like nightmares. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that you spit thrice to your left. Obviously, when it's mentioned as spit, it don't mean collect all the bile in your mouth and just shoot it out big blobs over to your left. That's not what is meant. But just with a little bit of spittle, that is all. And then obviously you you recite, like for instance, لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. But the various du'as that are for protection, that are there for protection, whether it's from the jinns or from whatever other harm that they may come. These things is permissible. Obviously, it not being from the Quran, there is no harm in reciting it. In fact, the person should be reciting this at all times, even if a person is reciting the Quran, because we are taught from the Sunnah du'as to recite before going to sleep, and du'as to recite when waking up in the morning, and du'as at every stage basically in life. So the du'as are in its place, and a person should be reciting those du'as irrespective of whether a person is reciting the Quran before going to bed or not. Obviously, a person should be reciting the Quran during the day and night, but despite you reciting the Quran, you should not be leaving out the du'as which are taught by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we know there are various du'as. Allahumma, okay, that's the way one book waking up. Asbahna wa asbah al-mulku billahi rabbil alameen. Or Allahumma bika amutu wa ahya. Oh Allah, in your name I die and I live. And the various other du'as that there are. If you open the book Hisn al-Muslim, there are lots of du'as in there for going to bed and for waking up and for eating and drinking and everything of the sort. So, and obviously that book is widely available on the internet and in books stores as well. So it won't be difficult at all whether you want the Arabic version or the English translation. It's easily available. One Google search and you'll be able to find it. So you should take that book and recite those du'as before you go to bed. And inshallah, you will be protected from nightmares and all that other sort of things. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah. Hope that answers your question. The sister sent it through to us. Okay, next question. I have a question regarding consuming food coloring, since they might be made from insects. Is this halal or haram? Also, is eating insects considered forbidden in Islam?
When it comes to okay, first let me answer the one on the insects. When it comes to the eating of insects, these are in Arabic hasharat. These things are termed as dirt, filth, whatever you prefer to term it as. And Rasulullah, Allah mentioned in the Quran, يُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. Speaking about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam permits for the believers that which is wholesome and pure, وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ, and he prohibits upon them those things which are filth. So eating of bugs and insects and all these types of things are what the ulama have explained as being the dirt and the filth, and therefore it is not permissible to eat insects. That's why the only, as you can say, the only insect which permissibility has been given in the Sharia for is locusts, and nothing else. You can't eat butterflies and moths and cockroaches and all that sort of things. These will all be termed as dirt that is not permissible to eat. Now, coming to the issue of food coloring made from, as I think if my mistake is pronounced, cochineal or something of the sort, which is made from insect-derived stuff, then obviously being made from insects, it will also carry the same ruling of impermissibility. So if it contains this insect food coloring, then it will not be permissible to eat such things, whether it's sweets or chocolates or whatever the case may be, where this food coloring is found in. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that. Keep your questions coming. Got loads of questions coming through. I'll get your questions eventually. I'm going to read everyone's question out eventually, so do bear with us because we've got quite a few questions in queue. If you still want to ask questions, you can do so. It's not too late. We're going to be on air for a bit longer. Ummah Radio is the Skype address to ask us on, or just log on to ummah.com/forum to ask your question. We're broadcasting live on www.ummahradio.com and also on islamradio.com, English and Urdu version. Okay, so next question. Can a woman get married where she has the permission of her father, but her mother is unhappy about it? And what if the mother says no? Is she allowed to disobey her and get married anyway, with the permission of her wali, father, of course?
Yes, basically yes, the marriage will be permissible if obviously when the wali gives permission, then the marriage is valid. Obviously, with the witnesses and everything else being in place. But the main important point is the permission of the wali, and the father is the wali, not the mother. In all cases, the main folk would be the walis. So once the father has given the permission, then the marriage can go through and it will be valid. Obviously, if the mother has a valid reason for saying that she don't want her daughter to marry such and such a person, then the woman should take it. The girl, she should look upon it and try and understand things also from her mother's perspective. Obviously, like I'm saying, for a valid reason, and then she should think, what is more important at the day. You only have one set of parents, but there are a million other people, other potential spouses out there. So don't sacrifice your parents over the sake of some person who just came along now the other day that you don't know from anywhere. So that's, like I say, when it comes to having a valid reason. But if it's just that you can say, she don't want to get let go of her daughter right now. She feels the daughter's too young or something of the sort. Things like that. Then, as you can say, it's not Islamic valid grounds. So in this case, there will be no problem. But like I said, in all cases, the marriage will be valid and everything without a problem. But the only thing is, whether the mother has a valid grounds or rather a valid basis for why she is objecting or not. So, like I say, choose wisely and take the consultation of your parents and don't just do things all on your own because you feel this is the best, this guy's the best thing since sliced bread. And so if you miss him out, there's never going to be anything else. While your mother feels, don't marry this guy because he's beardless and she don't see him as being religious and things like that. So if that's the case, then take your mother's advice and don't marry such a person. So I say, as long as the wali has given permission, then the marriage definitely can go through and being valid and everything. But it's just, when it comes to your mother, see what is the basis behind it. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair for that. Next question, is it permissible to draw silhouettes or shadows as a figure of a person?
Actually, Sheikh Salih al-Munajjiri, he had in one of his fatawa, obviously people should know his website, islamqa.com, when he mentioned that even drawing of stickmen will not be permissible. But there are other ulama who take a more lax view, where they say that something which is headless or which has no features, it's a very lax view of those scholars who say that as long if you have as you can say, a stick man or a shadow where it has no features, obviously it being simply a shadow, it has no facial features, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, no nothing. Then some say that there is some scope of permissibility for that, but others say no, the thing actually has to be headless, and then there would be some scope for it in that case. But others say no, any type of drawings of human beings or animals, all of it will be impermissible. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay. Jazakallah khair for that. Next question from Hakeem goes, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Hakeem from Feltham in London. My question is, can I talk with women at the working place? And can I give dawah to women who is not my meher? Jazakallah khair. So,
okay.
Yeah, got a question, yeah?
Okay, it would depend on what Hakim means by talking to women. If you know, like I explained in one of the previous sessions, that if you mean simply just chatting someone up, obviously in no cases will this be permissible. But for da'wah purpose, da'wah must be kept as da'wah and not flirtatious da'wah. As some people, I'm not saying it's what Hakim is doing, but I say you do find some people who do a flirtatious form of da'wah. Chat the woman up like this, and then they throw in a little bit of da'wah, try and this type will not be permissible. But many people keep a professional aura around them in their workplace, so they are able to give da'wah to their colleagues and workmates without there being anything haram involved. So if a person is keeping himself like this, keeping himself within the parameters of the Sharia, and he speaks and gives da'wah to the women in his workplace like this, then definitely there is nothing wrong with it. Obviously, speaking to women, like whether you go to a shop and you need to ask the teller or the cashier, and it happens to be now a woman, so now you have to speak for whatever reason. Definitely, the Sharia has given permissibility for that, but that's why I say for necessity there is permissibility, but for simple chatting up, you want to know, as they used to be in old days, ASL, age, okay, this is internet jargon now, age, gender, and location where you are living. So if you want to ask things like this, ask for a phone number and things like that, then this will not be permissible. But when it's for things of necessity, like you're working with someone and your boss tells you, go and speak with that woman over there, she's got the files for this job that you need to do, and then you go to her and you ask her for the files that you need to do. This will all be considered as permissible. It's necessity. You're speaking things out of necessary things. So likewise, when it comes to the issue of the da'wah to them, things should be done in a proper manner without anything haram or, like I mentioned, any flirtations or that sort of stuff, softening of your voice and, all that sort of things to none of those things should be involved. Then it will be permissible. Wallahu a'lam.
I guess the main kind of intention for it, you shouldn't have the intention like you're just using dawah as a front to chat someone up as well, isn't it? Because I mean, things like this, it does go on, isn't it?
It does go on, and I have heard of many cases of it where that's why I was saying about a flirtatious form of da'wah. In the end, it may turn out that the woman don't accept Islam or anything, but this flirtatious form of da'wah where the guy will go out with this woman and things like this, all sort of thing, all in the name of da'wah and things. It does actually happen. So that's why I said when it should be kept, as you can say, in a professional manner, that all in accordance with the parameters that the Sharia has set down.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Okay, keep your questions coming in. ummahradio.com. You're listening to live Q&A session with Musab. It's a Thursday evening, Thursday 2nd January 2014. Time coming up to 10:15 in the UK. So yeah, feed your questions through to as for Skype. Address is ummahradio.com. No, sorry, that Skype address is Ummah Radio, or you could just log on to Ummah forum and submit your submit your questions from there. Okay. Okay, next question. It's actually a similar question to what we were discussing a couple of days ago on WhatsApp Messenger. It's an issue of shaitan beautifying your sins. So say, for example, there's a girl and a boy alone. Actually, what does it actually mean? I mean, how does shaitan actually beautify something? Is it make the person, say for example, for the guy, shaitan makes the girl look kind of like pretty, if you want to know what I mean? Just to lure you into sin? I mean, could you explain that a bit further? The analogy of that.
Time and again, Allah speaks about this in the Quran. فَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُم, in various scenarios where a person commits evil and shaitan beautifies his evil for him. Like one example is if you take like music, for example. Music is something which is haram, but shaitan beautifies it in the hearts and the minds of the people, that but the people like this particular song, or they like to tango or to waltz or to break dance or whatever other thing that they're doing over there. So shaitan beautifies these things in their hearts. So that's just one example. So like how he beautifies it, then you find no problem with it. You like it. You long for it. Now in a like manner, when shaitan beautifies a non-mahram, some person who is haram, and you are not, as I mentioned, that you see somebody just by chance in the street and then you want to find out more about it for marriage purposes, that is one thing. But when you are just going to stare at her and all that other sort of haram things with a roving eye, then this is not permissible. This is when shaitan steps in and he beautifies he beautifies things for you so that for you it appears that she looks even more beautiful than what she really is. Okay, she may be beautiful and whatever the case may be, no one's denying anything of that sort, but this shaitan, whether it's a woman or a man now, whatever the case may be, shaitan basically puts it in you that you should, and like he prods you on to say, look, you're not going to see someone again like that. So, some people, like, the first, they mistranslate and they say the first look is permissible, when in fact the Sharia says that the first glance is forgiven. So what this some people they think is okay, what some people the shaitan tells them, the first look is okay, so have a nice long look there, look at the one time, finish all together, and then you don't have to look at the second time. So this is all from shaitan, where he beautifies things more than what they is. Just coming to mind, it's a famous story of Layla and Majnun, where somebody, an outsider, he saw Layla and he was like disgusted, and he said that he commented to Layla and he said, how can Majnun go on so about you when you are so ugly and short and deformed and everything of the sort like this? And she said, yes, but that's because you don't see me with the eyes of Majnun. So, like how Majnun, through his eyes, he saw Layla as the most beautiful woman in the world. So, likewise, shaitan, he puts, as you can say, he puts his rose-colored sunglasses in front of your eyes and makes you see things that, basically to turn you on towards haram, which is not supposed to be happening. Basically.
Actually, having said that, I think you already mentioned the follow-up question comes to, how long is it permissible for first gaze? And like I said, you already answered it. Like you mentioned about you're allowed to look once, but this looking once doesn't mean you can just stare at someone for 2-3 minutes, isn't it? I guess you just kind of look once and then put your head down, yeah? Correct?
Yeah. It's like you're standing somewhere and you're standing in the middle of the street and you're looking for somebody or something, and now as you're moving your gaze past, women are entering and exiting your gaze. This is what the Sharia has forgiven. Or let's say you're walking and you turn the corner and you almost bump into a woman. Obviously you see her face now and everything of the sort. That first gaze has been forgiven. Now it's upon you to lower your gaze and to move on. Now, you starstruck, and then suddenly violence and music start playing in the background, and you start going slow motion, staring at the woman and things like that. This is not what is permissible at all. Which, like I say, some people they seem to think, all because of English translation, they think that the first look is permissible. So you can have a nice long look, and that will be forgiven. But when you look now the second time, then it's a problem. No, the first glance, when your eyes fall upon her, that is out of your control, and that Allah forgives you for. But when you keep on looking, then now you are sinful for that, and that you will be taken to task for. So the minute, as you can say, like I say, your gaze falls on her, and it's upon you to move your gaze away, and that is how it should be done.
Okay. Jazakallah khair for that. Okay, another kind of marriage/advice question. This sister says, I've got a really good proposal through. The brother is really good. He prays, he's very practicing in deen, he's got a big beard, a jubbah, etc., etc. Basically, I think in terms of deen, he's perfect for me. However, I have issues. My parents are looking for someone more modern. What can I do in such a situation? Can I go against my parents? Or I really didn't understand the last bit actually. But basically what she's saying is, she's got a proposal from someone who's really, to deen, and, his character is, fantastic, and, just kind of the ideal guy for this girl in terms of deen and everything like that. However, her parents are set on wanting her to marry someone who's more into the worldly affairs and more into the modern type of guy. So what she's saying is, can I disobey my parents and go ahead and marry this guy?
No, like I mentioned at another time, that again, like one of the previous questions was about the wali's permission, and the wali's permission will take precedence. When it comes many people, they think that, like I said, it's the first guy that comes along, and then a person feels that, okay, this guy is like, so to say, the best thing since sliced bread. You're not going to get anyone better than him. If you let him slip through your fingers now, forget about it. You'll say spinster and die in that manner, and things like this. What all thoughts go through the minds of people. But many times, if you people have said that through obeying their parents, even better proposal came along. Okay, yes, I understand that you do have some parents who are, as you can say, culturally backwards inclined, where they don't, deen is the last thing on their list. So for them, they looking for, he must be, especially in Asian culture, he must be light of complexion, he must be rich, he must be a doctor or something of the sort. It doesn't matter if he's beardless or if he don't perform salah or anything of the sort, just as long as he fulfills these these worldly conditions. So in cases like this was something I was speaking about some time back. In cases like this, it's best that the girl in question, that she consults with a local alim in her locality, whatever the case may be, and he will be able to address the case better. Because there are cases and times where a parent loses his right to be a wali, because obviously now due to his evil or whatever the case may be. But also another point is, if you find like this case and the guy is so good in everything, then sit down and try and explain it to your parents and things like that. Many times people are afraid of their parents, that what they will say and what they will do, but they've never actually taken out the time to even sit down once to speak about it. They already give up before the first word is being said. So sometimes you should sit down, discuss, explain, and perhaps, who knows, with you making dua, Allah may change their hearts and they will agree to the marriage. It's not everybody who are dead set against all good marriages and they want you to marry evil, beardless, non-practicing person. It's not everybody who is like that. So make dua. That's always the first step. Before you turn to anyone for help, you turn to Allah for help, and you ask Allah to. There's one of the dua of istikhara, that when you are making istikhara, you're asking Allah for guidance. You say that if there is goodness in this person, then make it easy for me to be with him and him with me. And if there is badness for me in my deen and my dunya, then, as you can say, keep him far away from me. So this is one of the du'as that you are making when you are performing your istikhara salah, and the dua that you make thereafter. So in the same manner, you make this dua, and if this guy is the one for you, and he will be good for you in your deen and your dunya, then with you making sincere dua, Allah will make a means for you to marry that person. Don't make half-hearted or just, okay, the dua is there, I'm just not going to say it without any sincerity behind it. Then obviously it's not going to be the same at all. But if you make a sincere dua, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا, that whoever has the taqwa of Allah, then Allah will make a way out for this person, as Allah mentions in the Quran. So if you have the taqwa and you, as you can say, you have the taqwa of Allah and you have this sincerity in your dua, then, and this person is the right person. Obviously, if you either your heart changes towards him or you find he's being pushed away from you, then you can take it that Allah is responding to your istikhara and this person is not the right person for you. That is why Allah is keeping him away. So make the dua and speak with your parents, and inshallah in that manner they may be able to change and see things from your perspective and agree to the marriage in that way. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair for that. Cool. Okay, I think any more questions? It's going to go quiet on the Skype front. But yeah, I think that's all for today as well anyway. And I think we're approaching 10 o'clock now and nearing the end of the show. So once again, Abu Musab, Jazakallah, big massive Jazakallah for taking your valuable time out on this Thursday evening. And of course, educating us as always, enlightening us.
Oh, wait, وإياك ساجد. I should actually be thanking you because you always take your time out
Oh, no
to
worries.
run these things over the radio and all that sort of things.
Okay. Do you just want to remind the listeners, because you come on the radios a couple of times a week as well, if you just want to give the listeners a lowdown, I mean, what you do each week, and then try and encourage more people to join in, I guess, isn't it?
Okay. For those who know and for those who don't know, on Ummah Radio there are 4 classes running Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The Thursday, as you know right now, is 8:30 p.m. GMT, is this Islamic question and answer session. On Mondays we have an Aqidah class. All classes are run at 8:30 p.m. GMT. On Monday is the Aqidah class, and one week we do Aqidah, the next week we do Hadith. So this coming week we will be doing Hadith because the last week we had done Aqidah. So it's the same class. Aqidah, we do different kitabs. We had just finished Al-Aqidah al-Murshida in this current week, earlier on Monday. And now next week we will be doing Hadith, which will be the beginning of Ash-Shamail al-Muhammadiyah, better known as Ash-Shamail al-Tirmidhi. And so that's where Mondays are concerned. Tuesdays, we do Hanafi fiqh classes. We've been doing from Al-Hidayah, Sharh Bidayat al-Mubtadi of Imam al-Marghinani, rahimahullah. So far we've done 2 classes of that. And I haven't received any feedback from people yet, but if people feel that the kitab is a bit too technical and stuff, then we can change it in favor of a different kitab, which is Bada'i al-Sana'i of Imam al-Kasani, rahimahullah. So for those who have listened to the classes, it's up to you. You can decide, and you can let me know in the Ummah Radio section on Ummah Forum. There's a thread called Tuesday the Hanafi fiqh class. You can post in there as to what you have decided, and inshallah we will take things from there. Where Wednesday is concerned, we do Arabic classes, and currently we're doing the Medina Arabic course. We're still in book 1, right in the beginning. We just starting now currently lesson number 3. So there's not much which has been missed. So if you want to join in, it's not too late. You can jump in, and inshallah you may learn a thing or two about the Arabic language to use in your, as you can say, being able to open the Quran and read and maybe understand parts of it, or hadith and so on and so forth. So yes, that's how it goes. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all on Ummah Radio at 8:30 p.m. GMT.
Jazakallah. And of course, to our listeners, I mean, we got all these activities or programs coming on my radio, so do take advantage of it, because it's all free. Other places, unfortunately, online, if you want the courses, they charge you, but everything is free, alhamdulillah, on Ummah Radio. I mean, you don't have to be sat down in front of a computer. You could be driving, you could be listening to Ummah Radio on your cell phone. You could be cooking. You could be doing this. Hello?
Yes, Sajid?
Sorry, I got that. Yeah, sorry. So tune into my radio. This is the evenings to be 8:30 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Like I said, you could be driving, you could be cooking, you could be studying. Just switch on my radio in the background, and then inshallah, you'll gain and benefit from Abu Musab and his programs, inshallah. Okay, cool. Hey, Jazakallah for your time. We'll be back again next time, same place, with the question and answer session. Abu Musab will be back on Monday, inshallah, with his classes. If you want to keep up to date with things, just log on to ummah.com/forum and just check out the Ummah Radio section of the website, and all the information is on there. Okay. Hey, Jazakallah, Abu Musab, you want to conclude with a dua then, as always?
No real special dua, Sajid. I wanted to make one this time.
Go for this. I'm practicing for next week, inshallah. I can't.
Okay, then. Are we live still?
Yeah, we're still live. Yeah, still live. Yeah.
Oh, okay. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم اجعلنا وايانا خالصة لوجهك الكريم. Okay, that basically on that point then we will end there and we say وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.
Jazakallah khair. And don't forget, we'll be uploading the recordings on the YouTube channel, which I gather is youtube.com/Ummah Radio. I think, or I can't remember the address on top of my head, but just to search for Ummah Radio on YouTube, and inshallah we'll be uploading the shows as and when they come. Okay, Jazakallah for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and Jazakallah especially to Abu Musab for his time once again. So from me, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.